The wife of North Korean leader Kim Jong Un has been seen in public alongside her husband for the first time in over 12 months.
Ri-Sol-Ju, does it ring a bell? Most likely not. Well, you are not the only one who doesn't know this name, even though she's the wife of Kim Jong Un, North Korea's supreme leader. No, it's not because you didn't educate yourself enough. It's just that only a little is known about her, and that's because of her husband's rules. Join us as we explore 15 strict rules that Kim Jong Un's wife has to follow. Number 15. Her name? Yeah, we all know that North Korea's first lady is called Ri-Sol-Ju, but was she really named Ri-Sol-Ju? You must think it is normal for a woman to adopt her husband's name after marriage, but are you really getting your facts right? For starters, there's no relationship between Kim Jong Un's name and Ri-Sol-Ju. The three names are different. And while the problem some women have about their name after marriage is usually the conflict of changing their last names completely or adding their husband's, Ri-Sol-Ju has a more serious problem. She allegedly had to leave her name and adopt a new name entirely. It's not that a new name was announced, but no one seems to know anyone with her name, and at the same time matching her look, and yet she was born and raised in North Korea. So, what exactly changed? Marriage. Ever since she was announced as the First Lady of North Korea, no one could say anything about her or trace her past, as the name does not seem to have the same identity. A quick one. What can make you change your name completely? Number 14. Her past must remain a secret. In this generation, once a person is a public figure, we start to dig into their pasts via interviews and all. That way, we can come up with a biography that remains alive for generations to read. But in Ri-Sol-Ju's case, that can never happen. Only a few things are known about her past, such as the school she attended and the year she got married to Kim Jong Un. This is because she is under a rule that says she must be silent about her past. And don't be surprised, her family is in on it. Kim Jong Un never allows anything about his wife to be made public. Imagine a nation that doesn't even know anything about its first lady. You might say the journalists have not been digging enough, but believe they have done their best. It would have been easy if the First Lady made public appearances, but she's been rarely seen in public. Imagine someone who doesn't appear at programs. How on earth would she grant the opportunity to be interviewed? Another reason for the secrecy is that it is a government strategy. North Koreans believe that information is power, and they see information as a weapon that can be used against them. They feel more protected when the world knows less about them, which is why Ri-Sol-Ju must keep her past a secret. Some people have speculated that information about Ri-Sol-Ju's past might contain weaknesses for the nation. But in the real sense, no matter how her past went, North Korea is that nation that would hide anything to remain safe. It was also speculated at the time of Ri-Sol-Ju's reveal that she is a famous North Korean singer known as Hyeon Song-wol. Even now, some people still believe that Ri-Sol-Ju was previously Hyeon Song-wol, who was also rumored to be executed by Kim Jong Un in 2013. The rumor was recently cleared, and you'll find out how later in this video. Number 13. Dress code. Imagine yourself as the First Lady of your country. Your imagination most likely involved yourself in a particular outfit, the type that's so sophisticated and elegant. Just pray you don't end up as North Korea's First Lady, because that dream is never going to come true. Ri-Sol-Ju does not have the opportunity to choose what she wears or how she looks. From her hair to her shoes, she must follow strict rules about her appearance. At first, when Ri-Sol-Ju was announced as the First Lady, she appeared unique and prominent. She became the public's attention because of her Western-style appearance, but things soon changed, and everyone began to wonder what came over her. The truth is, nothing came over her. She has rules made by her husband to follow. She is not allowed to wear jeans, and slowly, surely her clothing collection disappeared. Everything was replaced with more conservative clothing, and before she wore anything, she had to get her husband's approval. Likewise, her hairstyle has never changed since giving birth to her first daughter. No matter how much you think about it, you just can't understand why there's a strict rule about her dressing. One of Ri-Sol-Ju's outfits made the headlines during the New Year program. She wore a traditional skirt and wine-colored jacket, that clearly stood out in the congregation of people. But standing out was not the objective. The same attire was worn by Kim Jong-suk, the wife of the late North Korean founder Kim Il-sung. Everyone is familiar with the outfit, and they all agreed it reminded them of Kim Jong-suk. It appears that the goal is to portray Ri Sol-ju as the Mother of Korea, a title that was initially for Kim Jong-suk. But before anyone could confirm the reason why Ri Sol-ju appeared that way, it was already known that it was all orchestrated by Kim Jong Un. Number 12. She doesn't see her family. Family is everything, they say. It is one of the first gifts you received before your birth. Let's not spend all day talking about family. You have one, and you know what it means to you. Okay, last one. Family contains the people who won't desert you even at your lowest. Now imagine someone cutting you off from your family, and I mean completely. You don't want to imagine, right? Well, that's Ri Sol-ju's reality. Ever since she got married, she has not been allowed to see her family. Don't even think it's because she's from a low-class family. Before getting married, she was not an ordinary citizen. She belonged to a respected and wealthy family. Her mother was the head of a hospital's gynecology ward, and her father was a professor. One of the few pieces of information we have about her is that she met Kim through her uncle, who was actually one of his military advisors. But since becoming the First Lady of North Korea, Ri has not had much time or opportunity to see her family. There must be a good reason for this rule. What do you think? Number 11. No political opinions. While you see so many first ladies on headlines airing their political opinions, such is a don't for Ri Sol-ju. She's expected to adhere to strict rules prohibiting her from expressing her political opinions. And this is not only publicly, but even privately. Even when there's a friendly discussion going on anywhere, once it gets to politics, Ri Sol-ju must excuse herself or keep mute. The rule is in place for many reasons. One is to ensure that the family image is preserved. The rule ensures that Ri Sol-ju's views do not contradict or undermine the regime's official stance. And of course, there's no better way to do that than to make sure Ri Sol-ju does not contribute. 2. The rule is in place to maintain the regime's control over the life of the First Lady. Women in positions have been found power-drunk in the past. This rule is to ensure that Ri Sol-ju doesn't go out of her place. She's expected to stay where she's placed in terms of power, not meddling in political affairs. And lastly, it is to prevent the spread of dissenting views. The concern of the authorities is that Ri Sol-ju might give a contrary opinion to the opinion of the House. The government can maintain the power of the ruling family by ensuring she remains completely silent about political issues. Number 10. She must visit the mourning site. While Ri Sol-ju doesn't appear so many times in public, there is a place she's mandatory to go, and that is a mourning site. This site is not the site of a citizen or some stranger, but instead the memorial site of her father-in-law. No matter what Ri Sol-ju has planned, no matter what she wants to do once it's the anniversary of her father-in-law, she must leave every other thing to attend the burial site to drop flowers for the dead. It is a rule, and once it is a rule, it must not be broken, else there'll be consequences. Apart from the fact that it is good and it is believed that it soothes the dead, this is mandatory for Ri Sol-ju to do her daughter-in-law's duties to her husband's family. By doing so, Ri Sol-ju is upholding the family image, and thereby maintaining the illusion of unity and harmony within the ruling family. If you give this rule a deep thought, it's nothing bad or difficult. It's just that once in a while when Ri Sol-ju has something else to do, it might become a problem. Number 9. Not given coverage by the press. When a celebrity appears anywhere, paparazzi follow. They take pictures of everything they do at an event, and yes, we read them in news and magazines, but the same does not apply to Ri Sol-ju. First off, she is not allowed to make any appearances without her husband. Well, there's little to no reason for her to go out without her husband. She is not allowed to meddle in the country's affairs, and anything done by her would be considered political. For this reason, Ri Sol-ju only goes out when her husband does. And as much as the paparazzi would like to cover their supreme leader and his first lady, they must not do so without Kim Jong Un's permission. They might take Kim's pictures and record him, but not his wife. It is not weird to go outside together, ride together, sit together, speak together, and even leave together, but just one person's presence is recorded. Although there's no record of a time when the two have been seen together without being covered by the media, the rule is the rule, and you must know what happens to those who break the rules. Number 8. Her children. You must know that the leadership of North Korea is different from every other country. In your country, when a president finished his term, an election comes, and you vote for another leader. And sometimes when the leader doesn't do well, they get impeached, giving room for another ruler. But not in North Korea. You must know that the same family has been ruling the nation for 3 generations. It's usually after one die that another ascends the throne. This is because the Kim dynasty works to a governance standard called the 10 Principles for the establishment of a monolithic ideological system. It states that the party must be represented eternally by the Baekdu bloodline. It is just a wonder how this law was introduced into the nation. The fact that the Kim family has been ruling for generations shows that they made that law once they were in charge. This leadership of theirs can only be passed from one member of the clan to another. It can be any member of the Kim bloodline, but on one condition. The member must be a male. Therefore, Ri Sol-ju has an assignment to produce an heir for Kim Jong Un. Ri Sol-ju and Kim Jong Un were said to have been married since 2009, but the report of their first child came in early 2010. After that child, Ri Sol-ju reportedly had 2 other children. Typically, Koreans don't give birth to more than 2 children, but in Ri Sol-ju's case, she needed the 3rd. It is believed that the first 2 children are girls, which is why she gave birth to another. Of course, Kim Jong Un cannot be happy about having female children, as it means no one is going to continue his reign after he's no more. According to some sources, Ri Sol-ju was forced into childbirth right after her marriage. And as if that was not enough, she was put under a lot of pressure to give birth to a boy. She had her 3rd child at 2017, and the child was rumored to be a boy. Are we to believe a rumor? Yes, we should do this one. This is because failure to give birth to a boy not only put Ri Sol-ju in danger, but also her husband. It could result in the same fate as Kim Jong-un's brother, Kim Jong-nam, who was allegedly assassinated by the party. Or he could end up like his uncle, Jang Song-taek, who was assassinated on his order back in 2013. Yeah, this is one heck of a family. Number 7. Limited travel freedom. First ladies across the world travel around the world for different reasons. They may choose to travel to a place for business, political-related issues, tours, or vacations. But you see, Ri Sol-ju does not even travel within North Korea, not to talk outside the country. Well, let's accept she travels within the country. She has never done it alone. She only travels with her husband on funeral-related visits when a leader dies. They go there to sympathize with the family of the deceased, and that's all. At this point, you can say this is slavery or bondage. But I guess Ri Sol-ju agreed to the rule, or maybe it was imposed on her because, before she married Kim Jong Un, it was a different story entirely. First of all, Ri Sol-ju studied in China for some time. She was born in North Korea, but studied in China, which means she never had a problem with traveling and most likely loves to change the environment sometimes. Secondly, she visited South Korea as a cheerleader, which shows that she's someone who loves to have fun and explore. But as soon as she married Kim Jong Un, everything changed. She stopped traveling and was restricted from going anywhere alone. Maybe the rumor about her friends is true. Rumor has it that Ri Sol-ju's friends were executed just to bury her past. But is it just a rumor? If Ri Sol-ju visited these places truly, then she must have done it with some friends who are now nowhere to be found or too afraid to speak as no one has come forth to give information about Ri Sol-ju. Number 6. Surveillance and security measures. With all that you have heard about the strict rules imposed on Ri Sol-ju, you might be wondering if she's happy with them. While we can't get her answer, we do know that no one is happy being in bondage. And for that reason, you wonder why she's still there and hasn't left the marriage. Apart from the fact that she cannot control her divorce, she is being monitored 24/7, for many reasons though. Of course, the First Lady must be well protected from any form of attack. But protection isn't the only reason Ri Sol-ju is monitored every time. All of her movements are monitored, including every meeting. For everything she does, she's being watched, including her most personal activity. Every of her communication is being recorded too. In case you asked how anyone would find out she said anything about politics. The record is kept to make sure she doesn't say anything that would put the ruling family in danger, and also to ensure her loyalty and adherence to the rules governing her life. She is also monitored to prevent her exposure to any dissenting views. Her conversations are also recorded to gather information for different reasons, both political and personal. This is the reason why some people believe that Ri Sol-ju is one of Kim Jong Un's weapons. Now it's time for today's subscribers pick. These are two different pictures taken on two different days. Even though there are the same people in the pictures are different, but similar. One of them is that Ri Sol-ju is beside Kim Jong Un, but the most distinctive is Ri Sol-ju holding her wrist. While most of the rules mentioned here were not confirmed by the North Korean media, we can have this list through observations and facts that we know. This means there might be other rules that Ri Sol-ju has to follow that we do not know, and these pictures might be showing us what we missed. Do you think Ri Sol-ju must always hold her wrist while beside her husband? Is she covering something? Or do you think it is a habit of hers? Let's know in the comments section. Number 5. Her sister-in-law. With the way the Kim family is structured to favor the men, you would think that the women have no power at all until you meet the most powerful woman in North Korea. Can you guess? You said the First Lady? No. Ri Sol-ju just has the title of the First Lady. But the most powerful woman in North Korea is actually her sister-in-law, Kim Yo-jong. Don't start to imagine a big and very old woman, at least older than Kim Jong Un. Kim Yo-jong is the youngest of Kim Jong Un's siblings and also the most ruthless. This is why she fits perfectly into the role of vice director of propaganda. As they say, blood is thicker than water. Kim Jong Un trusts his sister so much that she's an advisor to him. That's not all. She is also in charge of what goes in and out of Kim Jong Un's office. She must give her permission before anyone is allowed to see her brother, and she must check every document that comes in before it gets to the supreme leader. In fact, we can agree that she rules North Korea behind the scenes. In comparison, Ri Sol-ju is more like a common citizen of the country, and she has to follow a rule that states she must give Kim Yo-jong utmost respect. Of course, one must not get on the propaganda princess's bad side. Fortunately, Ri Sol-ju and her sister-in-law are reportedly on good terms, and together they use their influence to improve Kim Jong Un's political appearances around the world. But be sure that everything that goes on with Ri Sol-ju, including what she eats, how she dresses, and where she goes, has Kim Yo-jong pulling the strings behind the scenes. Number 4. Rigid daily schedule. What do you expect of a person who is being watched every time? Of course, everything she does and would do is being planned, so there's no extra time for frivolities. Her daily schedule is so rigid that she cannot bend her time or choose to do something that's not in the plan. From the time she wakes up to when she eats, has her bath, or goes out, everything is planned. And when she's out with her husband, there's a scheduled time they must spend outside and come back inside at the appropriate time. To the point that they plan when the First Lady must be in bed. Her rigid schedule requires her to perform various duties as a wife, a mother, and the First Lady. Her duties include attending to her husband's needs, managing the household, and also raising her children. Oh, you think Ri Sol-ju won't be really involved in the household care and raising of the children since she's the First Lady? She's not like the First Ladies that you know. She is obligated to raise her children in accordance with the regime's values. Her everyday life is filled with a series of tasks and obligations to keep her occupied and focused on her role as the First Lady. Most likely, as she's done with a task, she's going into another, all planned for the day, so she doesn't have time for other things. Imagine not being able to have fun when you want to. Ri Sol-ju can't even think of that as her social circle is restricted and monitored by the government. What a life. Number 3. Her competition. Yes, Ri Sol-ju might have competition. Although adultery and polygamy are technically outlawed in North Korea, most of their leaders never hesitate to take on mistresses. As said earlier, if Ri Sol-ju can't produce an heir, it is a big problem for her. a problem that was not stated earlier. She won't be able to stop her husband from having mistresses and trying his luck with them. Most likely, Ri Sol-ju's last childbirth was her last shot to hold her husband to herself. It is not even about producing any heir, but the right heir. Even Kim Jong Un is the child of one of his father's many wives, and he has older brothers, but he was the chosen right heir. The title passed over his two older brothers, Kim Jong-chul and Kim Jong-nam, to become his because he was considered the appropriate heir. None of Kim Jong-un's brothers were considered strong enough to rule the party, which means when there are options, the party will choose the most appropriate and name him as the successor. This is why Ri Sol-ju had to try her best to produce an heir. But now it is not clear if Kim Jong-un is not already outside shopping. His ex-girlfriend, Hyun Song-wol, who is a popular singer and mentioned earlier, whom Kim has known since he was a teenager, has now been appointed as a member of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party. It was until she was elevated that a lot of people believe that she is not Ri Sol-ju. She has also been seen going with him to China on supposed business trips. Business trips? Number 2. Restricted social circle. After Ri Sol-ju's old friends have been allegedly executed to conceal her past, she is even barred from having new friends. If she's going to have a friend at all, the government must be involved, and they must properly check the friend, her background, and everything to know about her. Most likely, they would be the ones to recommend friendship with the other party, and that's probably to lie to obtain more power or information. As stated earlier, anything they discuss will be monitored, so it must not have anything to do with what's outside the plan. Yes, plan, as the interaction and communication are all planned. There's also a limit to the number of people that can also be in this circle, and as you know, eyes are on them all. This rule is in place to minimize potential security risks and prevent the spread of information that could be harmful. She is prohibited from interacting with foreigners, a rule that is in line with the North Korean regime's isolationist policies and its efforts to minimize external influence. It actually takes a bold person to be Ri Sol-ju's friend. Who do you think would want to be a friend of someone whose old friends were executed innocently? Power or not, of course, everyone would fear for their dear lives. To be honest, would you love to be friends with Ri Sol-ju if you had the opportunity? Drop your honest answer. Number 1. Her divorce. This is probably the part you have been waiting for. Of course, any human should be curious about the divorce laws in case Ri Sol-ju wants to leave this marriage. But you see, there's a law that makes it possible for Kim Jong Un to flaunt the rules of monogamous marriage, which might make it impossible for Ri Sol-ju to file for a divorce. Filing for divorce means Ri Sol-ju has enough evidence against her husband. North Korea's family law specifies that divorce may be granted only when one of the couples is found engaging in adultery, but not for irreconcilable differences. Don't be surprised. You can't even file a divorce for domestic violence in North Korea. But, as stated earlier, the offense of adultery does not apply to the top-ranking members of the Kim dynasty. They are free to commit adultery, and no one is going to arrest them for that offense. If at all there's ever going to be a divorce, it would definitely come from Kim Jong Un. And if you look at Kim Jong Un, well, it doesn't look like he's tired of his marriage, and most likely he won't be tired since the Ri Sol-ju we know has been nothing but a compliant wife. Of all the rules that Kim Jong Un gave his wife, it has never been reported that she flaunted his rules. This means the chance of a divorce is 0. There you have it, the strict rules Kim Jong Un's wife has to follow. Which of these rules do you think is the most unpleasant? Let's know in the comment section. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.